See, Hombade was trying to make a Malayalam film, and then so everything came in at the same time. And then Fahadh was spoken to, and Fahadh knew of my work, so he asked, "What is Pawan doing?" They said, "Pawan has the script." And like in your interview, Q's interview, he said, "We will bring them to Malayalam." So he did manage to do that. A lot of influence happened to me from Fight Club, Schindler's List, Philadelphia. So these are some 6-7 films that I saw repeatedly in my early stages. Train spotting and all those things, and that influenced me a lot in my role. So one of my ex-girlfriends was a Malayali. I never learnt Malayalam. Maybe that's why she's an ex.
The Q Showtime, Pawan Kumar. Welcome.
Hello. Hi.
This is your 14th year as a writer. From Manasare to Dhoomam.
Yeah.
It's been a long journey. Yeah. I just want to know that what writer Pawan searches each time when he wants a story.
I think it's a more self-discovery. It's a more confessions. It is more like a therapy session. Because for me, because I come from theatre, I started in college or doing amateur theatre. And I went through a lot of workshops there. So that process always was to look inside. So though there are so many plays and all that, it was when they teach you, they always say, how do you feel, and do something about what you feel and all that. So it became a very early training for me to develop content or to express myself using this as an art form. So I've never made a film as a job. I've mostly used my feelings to express through film. So hence all my films and plays have always started from a thought that I want to share. And that became the writing process.
Yeah. Okay. So you have done many movies in different languages, and you have done Layla too, a series in Hindi. Now in Malayalam, Dhoomam. So the journey through different languages, how do you manage to adapt?
So luckily in Bangalore, when we study, we somehow seem to have gotten a kind of all languages, we study Kannada and we study English, Hindi. So these three basically we studied, and my mother tongue is Marathi. So Hindi became a little easier. And my mother is from Andhra, so she knew Telugu. And so I grew up listening to a lot of Telugu. So the only two languages that I'm alien to is Malayalam and Tamil. Though one of my ex-girlfriends was a Malayali. I never learnt Malayalam. Maybe that's why she's an ex. And so I figured very early. See, the first outside Karnataka, a non-Kannada or a non-English that I was working on was a Telugu film. And hence... I was a little skeptical in the beginning, but as soon as I started having a team who speaks Telugu, I figured that that's not a barrier at all. And very easily I could do Telugu, Tamil U-turn. And then I jumped into Layla. Even there, Hindi fairly I would understand, but I figured that in filmmaking process, language is only one small part. Because the entire thing is a visual medium, right? And it's the storytelling has its own language. As a director, you need to concentrate on that, and language is only one part which anybody can help you with. So it became more easier.
So in case of Lucia, it was the first crowd-funded film from Canada. It was a path-breaking film. I think it was the film that led for a new wave in Kannada film industry. For a filmmaker, like it was your second feature as a director, was that a risk? Like you had a risk during this process?
Yeah, so it started with me wanting to tell this story and figuring that my industry, where I come from, it's not going to be backed by a traditional production setup. So it was not like everything was planned. I had no idea it will become so big, nothing. In my head, I used to blog at that point. So I just put up saying that if everybody pitches in some money, I'll make a simple film and I'll give you the DVD. And that's all my dream was, to make the film and make 500 people see it. And then I think social media was in a very good space at that point. Now it's completely changed. So at that point, people used to be more real. They used to share. There used to be more organic interactions. So hence an idea when you put there, everybody started talking about it in a like how can we pitch in, how can we participate, and not criticize. If the criticism was very like 5% and 95% positivity, now it's completely switched to the other side.
Opposite.
Yeah. So because of that, I think it was in the right time that happened. And with every step, like as soon as I got the crowd fund, and then we started making it. So my responsibility at that time was that now I have to make the film well. You know, I
Yes.
didn't think of a film festival. I didn't think of a London premiere. Everything just opened up one after the other, and it took us like 18 months to, you know, start to finish the whole film till the release date and everything. So it was a great experience, and very lucky to have been chosen, you know, by everyone, the crowd and everyone, to make it happen.
That too in London Film Festival Audience Choice Award.
Yeah. So it was, everything was a surprise. So every time I like, once I finished the film, I'm like, wow, I actually finished the film. And then the trailer came out, and everybody liked the trailer. So it was when the audience saw it in Kannada, I didn't think it would run beyond a week, because I thought who will come, but it went on for 100 days, and it became what it's become now. So yeah, very lucky to be in that space.
Even in Kerala, like when we start watching Kannada movies, we have two movies. One is Kirik Party, other one is Lucia. From there we start watching Kannada movies. So in case of Lucia, it focuses on lucid dreaming, appeal for lucid dreaming, and everything else. So this was a concept that have never been seen in Indian industry at that time. We know about lucid dreaming. We have other movies related to lucid dreaming in other languages. So what was your first idea on lucid dreaming?
No, it was actually a tool that became part of the script. For me, the initiation of the script was, came from, like I said, a more personal thing of, because I used to act in Kannada films, and whenever I go to a small restaurant or, you know, go eat somewhere roadside, there'll be people who keep recognizing me, and so I was very uncomfortable because everybody's looking, you know, I'm very shy. So I started thinking, if I have done only few films and very supporting acting role, I thought, then how will a star feel? You know, how will a Shah Rukh Khan feel? You know, in the latest interview I saw, he says he enjoys. But let's say someone who probably just wants to not to be seen all the time. So that's when this idea came. I thought, what if he just wants to be not seen? Then maybe
like
that's
he wants to lead an ordinary life.
Yeah, maybe that becomes his dream. So then it became like, how do I show a dream? And how do you show a dream as a story that continues? Because dreams are otherwise, you know, they're not connected. You sleep, you have one dream today, tomorrow. So, and then I discovered the tool called lucid dreaming. When I started researching about dream and all that, then I also remembered other films that I had seen. So then that became a lead. When I started researching about lucid dreaming, I figured that it's like yoga. You practice it for a couple of months, and then you can train your mind to dream the way you want. So then it became a pill and all that. So it was never the starting point. The starting point was, the starting point was this.
Okay, so coming to Dhoomam, it's your first feature in Malayalam, and from the trailer of Dhoomam, the hook point was the commercializing the advertisement to next level. Like Fahadh is communicating that why can't we make an advertisement that people like? So it was a hook point for us from the trailer. So what is Dhoomam for you?
It talks about these things that is around us, which we are subjected to on a daily basis. You know, tobacco is part of your life, whether you want it or not, whether you consume it or not. It has been put in your face in different ways. Either you are second-hand smoking, or you are watching somebody smoke.
Passive smoking.
Or worse come worse, when you go to watch a movie and just to enjoy a movie, this is the first thing they show you. And you know, so it is like, even if you don't want to be in that, the government, everybody is forcing you to see this, be part of this word in your mind, right? So I started thinking, why is that happening, and what forces are behind it? What could be the reason? So it's my own take on, if I don't want to see it, why are you forcing me to see it? You know, that led to this thought coming and becoming a story.
Okay, so if in the case of Fahadh Faasil, we have seen him in the same premises, same urban setting before. Like many films, he's like in the beginning stage, he was a common urban hero from Malayalam. So audience know what all things Fahadh do in this urban setting, what all mannerisms, what all gestures, everything. So in that case, again, you are casting Fahadh in a similar setting. So what was your excitement in casting Fahadh?
See, I think he always goes extremes with each film. Like just 4 weeks ago, Pachu came, where he's a completely different guy. And I think next the Tamil film is coming.
Mamannan.
Yeah, and in that when you see the trailer, he's a
Yes.
completely different guy again. So I think for me it was just I knew that this theme is something that he will do without even asking any detail, or he will, if I make anything weird and quirky, he will enjoy doing that. That's what the script had. And I think personally he likes to do that. No, he will do a Malik, he will do a See You Soon, and then he'll do Kumlangini Nights. So if you actually just put all his body of work, it will keep going in different ways and not in a single form. So I didn't think of his earlier things. I only looked at him as an actor, and I knew that he will be the most convincing one to communicate this story to the audience.
Even if we look into this movie, Fahadh have already mentioned this movie 3 years ago in our interview. Like he's discussing something with Pawan, so we had no idea whether it is Dhoomam or not. And if we look into the like some years back, Fahadh has been a pan-Indian star. He's doing movies like originals in Telugu, like Pushpa, in Tamil, Vikram and all. Then why do you choose Dhoomam to be a Malayalam movie?
Because I wanted everything. See, one, there are two. The main reason is the audience, because I think the audience here is extremely accepting of something new. You know, when you look at the movies that have become hits or which have made a lot of name critically, and then when I sit in a Karnataka and see it, I keep wondering, if we do the same thing, nobody will watch it here, you know. And there are movies which are made, in fact. There are Kannada films which are made of equal quality or content, but they go unheard of because there's no such support from the audience coming in. And in Malayalam, I saw that it may not even have a star. You know, it may not even have a big grand visual, but it will have a strong story, but people talk about it and they watch it.
Yes.
So when as a production house they saw this film, and even for many years I tried to pitch it in many other languages. So finally Hombade was trying to make a Malayalam film, and then so everything came in at the same time, and then Fahadh was spoken to, and Fahadh knew of my work, so he asked, what is Pawan doing? They said Pawan has the script, so it just fell in place that way. And I would like to work with an actor where he is extremely comfortable with the language. So all the films that you spoke about, they were primarily that language, and Fahadh was part of it.
Yes.
But here, since this is a Fahadh's
mother
film,
tongue.
and I can place it in Malayalam, and like in your interview, Q's interview, he said we will bring them to Malayalam. So he did manage to do that.
Like how was the writing and shooting process? Like Malayalam is new for you now.
Yeah, so I had two assistants. One was Vivek Ranjit and Jose, both from here. And Vivek Ranjit took care of the adaptation, translations.
He used to do subtitles.
Yeah, he still. So he took care of that, and constantly on the set. And of course, before even we started shooting, we had readings with Fahadh, Aparna, where we told them that, you know, your characters' lines we have written like this. And sometimes they said, yeah, this I can say it differently. You know, these kind of changes. And I spent a lot of time in the beginning stages understanding if what I have written is translated correctly.
Okay.
And then later they were on the set and we would just go ahead. And they all speak English, so it became easy.
Communication was easy.
Communication.
Okay. I just want to ask one thing to writer Pawan. Like you are writing something when you have an excitement over it. Once in the midway of writing, you lose this excitement, and how do you manage to?
No, you just keep it aside. There are many scripts which are half written, which will be completed later. You know, it happens. It's part of any writer's journey that you don't necessarily finish every script that you start. Sometimes you write 20 pages and then you see that you're lost, and then you just put it aside. And sometimes 2-3 years later you find the pickup point again, and then you continue writing. Yeah.
So, what is excitement for you in a writer's and director's perspective?
See, writers I really like because you are literally creating the whole world. I keep saying that something that this script was thought of in 2008, like the basic concept, the core concept that you will see in 2 days, an idea that came to me in 2008, and how a person sitting somewhere can have this idea and then he has to just write 130 pages. And then it can create an economy of how many crores, how many people are getting paid just because somebody put something down. So it's a very, it's a great feeling to do that. Every film that I see, U-Turn or something, I feel it started so simple, but then it went on to become so big as a, once you're done with the script, it creates a different world altogether. But I don't start with that intent. I start because I feel like how well can I say this feeling to my people, like it's more like sharing how you share a picture on Instagram.
Like I have this thought.
Yeah, and I just want to share it, but because I love the medium of filmmaking. If maybe I was an artist, I would have painted. If I was a dancer, I would have danced to it, so it became like this is my art form.
So you are a director, writer, producer, and an actor. You carry on carry on different roles in your daily life, in your industry. So what is that one thing excites you in each of these four roles?
Not production so much. I mean, it has its phases, like I would probably not just write and give away my script to anybody. So I usually write and then I lock the writer up and then the director comes out and then I love to then direct. Acting, I've not enjoyed doing it for my own films as much. I usually do it for other people's film and somebody else is directing. And that I haven't concentrated as much as I've concentrated on writing and directing. So it's two parts. I always write for a while and then put that aside and then go direct. And now that I've finished directing, now the writer will come out again. So it's just like that.
Like a cycle.
Yeah.
So even if you look at from your career from Lucia to Dhoomam, there is a shift from independent movies to popular cinema style. So was it easy to I want to make a popular film now?
Actually,
was that instant thought?
I've always stuck in between. I was just recently thinking about it, including my plays. When I used to do theater, I've always been in between in all my art forms because it was never commercial theater and it was never a very art form theater, like the very traditional art form, they said my plays were bad. And the very commercial one would say yours is too experimental. So it was, but that is my language, that is all comes to me. So if you see my Life Wish Tene film, it had 5 songs, it played in that popular genre, but the theme is still very urban, very contemporary. Lucia also had an item number, but very intelligently put in the film that it doesn't feel like one. So what I've realized is I don't enjoy extremely commercialization of what you want to say, because I think that is more like the audience like this, hence we will do it. Mine is more where I have a very core thought, but I don't want to make it so bizarre that you don't even understand, because the audience, I want them to watch it. They have a certain amount of knowledge of how to consume art, and I play it in that zone. So I always feel I'm in between. It's like even Dhoomam, it's a thriller and it has drama and all that. But at the deep down, when you see the whole film and come out, you will say, hey, he's trying to push this thought to us. So.
Like you have earlier mentioned that Dhoomam is not in the usual pace that thriller films have. Like we know that thrillers doesn't need a stereotypical pace for its viewing experience. Like we are seeing other language movies, Fincher movies and all. So drama have equal importance along with this thriller format. So do you think that here in this commercial space of Indian film industry, this pace for a thriller movie?
See, what is happening is with each year, the audience retention is coming down, because now you have reels which are 10 seconds, right? And people are doing that. So their mind is trained to watch content for 2 seconds. If 2 seconds you don't like it, you just move to the next one. So it's becoming like a habit. And a habit which everybody, because everyone has a smartphone, everybody is on Instagram, TikTok. It's become like that's the training. They've trained their mind to see very little. In that, you have to still hold the audience. When I come to the theater, it's very easy today for them to feel bored. Because
most of them have this lack of patience.
Yeah, because their mind is now addicted to a faster content. And within this, we have to keep this in mind. We can't ignore it going forward, because if you make a very slow film, like a classical filmmaking pace, you will have a very niche audience who will, commit to watching it. Because it's not their mistake, it's getting rewired. The brain is only getting rewired to not accept it. So I am trying to play it in between. So I didn't want to cater to just that behavior, wherein just because you can't see fast, I'm not going to make only fast. So I said there will be a thriller pacing to the film, but the agenda is to also show what is happening between the characters. And especially when I cast all of them, like Fahad, Aparna, and
Vineet.
Vineet. Roshan was also a
Yes, Roshan.
great addition to the whole film. And they perform it so well. And I love to give them that space to perform. You know, if you are constantly cutting quick shots, then the performance that they've done is gone. So in this film, I took a balance of some scenes will be very quickly cut, whereas some scenes will have that little
Hold,
slow,
like,
you know, because their performance you need to see what they feel they need to see. Yeah.
So, as you mentioned, this casting from the very beginning, casting in your movies have been very recognizable. Like we all used to talk about that casting. What is your process on casting?
So it has been very lucky. I think somewhere right from my first film, I found an actors very interested in my work. So there were times when everybody, if I'm announcing something, they would show that interest that they want to be part of it. That makes it a bit easy, you know, because now you have everybody available.
Like
that
Pawan doesn't want to go to everyone.
so it becomes like they're open to wanting, you know. That really helps a lot. And here I took a lot of help from Fahad actually, because I've seen Malayalam films. I don't know the names of all actors, so my assistants and all, I would say, oh, he's in Capella, or he's in that film, he's in this film. So then they would say, oh, this guy, that
Like
guy.
your memories of characters.
From the characters. So then they would show me the names, and sometimes they were not available. Sometimes their dates didn't work. And for Vineet sir's, that was the last casting that happened, because I was not finding anyone to do it. We found a lot of names, very good actors, but either their dates didn't work, or somehow I felt they're good actors, but they're not fitting the character. And then when I asked Fahad, he said, hey, have you thought of Vineet? Because I think he was doing Pachu at the same time. And
The shoot was also
around that
simultaneously.
time when I was doing this. So he said, you try Vineet sir. And then I'd seen Vineet sir earlier, but when I called him and met him, it bang on worked. And what Vineet sir has got to the character. And now when I release the trailer, I see he's got a huge fan base.
Yes.
You know?
Comment section.
Yeah. Everybody is like, oh, Vineet. I think after this film, he will
Like Pachu was a comeback for him.
come back. So after this, because he's got much more to do, I'm sure many will write characters for him going forward. Yeah.
Okay, so you have a theatre backdrop. When we look into this theatre, drama, every place, it is for a fixed time period, and it's not being cut into different shots or anything. It's a continuous process. We have more rooted, more emotional journey, and we can connect it with audience more easily. Like you are in front of them, and when it comes to cinema, the entire process is different from plays. So, being a person from theatre backdrop, when you are making a film, how does this help in filmmaking?
So it's been a while. What I saw, it took a long time for me to shift to cinema kind of thinking, because as a theatre, you're always thinking of one wide shot. It's a one stage.
Everything happens in that shot.
Sure. But in cinema, it is close-ups, mids, and you have to cut. So for initial 2-3 years, it took a long time for me to just shift to this. Now it's becoming very difficult to go back to that. So used to cinema now. But what theatre teaches you is sensing the pulse of storytelling. You know, because in edit here, we will be just working with our teams, right? Me, editor, will be watching it again and again, and we have to gauge that. After we have seen it 200 times, we should still feel like how an audience who's watching first time will feel. That instinct should develop. So for me, doing theatre, because you're working with the audience live when you're performing, you tend to develop that automatically. So when you're on stage and when you're acting, you suddenly you sense that the audience are getting bored.
Yeah, you
know
can
that-
improvise there.
Yeah, so then we put in more effort to have them inside. And sometimes you know that, okay, you doing this, the energy is being translated there. So I think this becomes a part of you. And when you're writing to the film, you know that after 3 pages, I think I'm dragging the scene. You know, you're unnecessarily writing too much. You don't have to say so much to communicate this. So this feeling helped. That training helped me here.
So when it comes to Layla, it was a right bang on the political scenario of India. And how did you reach to that crew?
No, it was the other way. I had just finished Telugu Tamil U-turn, and the production called me, and they had seen my work, and so they said, "Hey, we would want you to do 2 episodes," and So I was very fascinated because we have only seen, Netflix and all the other web series they do. So it was like, wow, a big opportunity. So immediately jumped on, and I loved the theme. And I liked the theme of what it was set up in. So, but what you're seeing now is very different from what it was at a
Okay.
thematic level. I would still say that at a Bible, what they call as the series Bible, where you write the whole series down. I had read that, and it was way better than what you're actually getting to see.
Oh.
When you are now seeing, it got very diluted. Too many thoughts came in, so and it became something else. We have seen the much better version in the script actually,
Okay.
and I like that they were thinking what can happen. The polarization, politics, and all that.
Actually, it is a light to the post scenarios.
What can happen
What
if
can
things
happen.
are if things go wrong, and I really like that space. And some places we are already living that a little.
Yes, yes.
More than the politics, I liked the rich and the poor divide in the series that was written before. They had brought in. It's very interesting that even today there are gated communities, right? There are even Kochi. Every city has big walls, and there'll be a very posh community living. And we'll all feel that we are so secure inside, we'll have security and everything. But just right outside that wall, there will be a completely opposite scenario. And we feel that this wall is always going to protect us. We'll feel that there is, and if you stand in the balcony, you will see that the other side of life is right there. And that series was about that. It was like, if this continues, what can happen? And somewhere I feel in the process of making, everybody lost it a bit. It's still, some people still like it, some people hate it, but it was still a good experience.
How was this process of movie, like a filmmaking on a movie and on a web series?
It was definitely a huge learning.
Like you would have limitations, right?
See, I didn't write that. So as a writer, it's actually a different process. So for the film, you write for 2 hours, 2 hours 30 minutes, right? For a series, you have to write for 8 hours.
8 hours.
Time, so it is a different. So you don't really, you can explore character more. Here we'll be in a rush because you have to finish a scene in a minute or 2 minutes, and then you have to move on to the next thing. But in series, you can spend 8 minutes on a scene. You can have the character.
You have space for detailing.
More. Yeah. So the character, which I little bit experienced on Laila, but I did another web series called Kudiyadamaithe in Telugu.
Amala Paul.
Yeah, Amala Paul. So that again was written by someone, but I did an adaptation. So there I had more control. There I directed all 8 episodes, and it was much more fun. It is a great experience to. So in movies, we will be constantly thinking of that. Oh, this scene is becoming too long. But in series, you don't have to. If your actor is performing, and if you feel like I can juice out more emotions, you are free to do it. So that's a good space also.
The one doubt I have is, while making a movie, you are the director, you are in control of everything, you have emotion, you have your own vision on movie. But when it comes to series like Layla, you are not the only person directing the entire episodes. So how do you manage to have this common theme?
No, that was a big problem which I did, which is why when I did Kudiyadamaithe, my first thing was that I have to direct all 8. I think I won't enjoy doing this 2 episodes because
there would be this changing graphs of visions.
So it's a very Hollywood way of working. It is something that we are not trained here to do. They are trained to do it as a process, where a writer writes and the script is locked, and the director comes and just translates it from script to screen. But here our process is we get involved in, we make it more personal, the content and everything. So I went there to Laila just to experience how that feels. I would probably not do that again, because I figured that my storytelling is where I'm part of the writing, where if there is a part of me which is in the storytelling, and then I make it into viewing things, which is why I enjoyed Kudi a lot more.
To conclude this session, I just want to ask the final question. What was that one film that inspired you to choose this film making?
So to make film, to get into filmmaking, I think way younger, I was doing theatre, and I didn't know anything about world cinema. Okay. So I always thought films meant what we see in Hindi.
Bollywood was
that is all I knew, and I knew some of Kannada films. But I thought films meant only this, whereas there's entertainment, song, and all that. And suddenly, this theater group took me to a film called Life is Beautiful.
Life is beautiful.
2000, I think that 2002,
Two.
yeah, Italian film. And that's when I got completely shocked that okay, so films can be so amazing, you know. That's when I started watching more and more films that are away from our Indian popular genre. And I think that would still be the starting point. But then a lot of influence happened to me from Fight Club, Schindler's List,
Schindler's List.
Philadelphia. So these are some 6-7 films that I saw repeatedly in my early stages. Train spotting and all those things, and that influenced me a lot in my work.
So thank you so much.
Great, thank you for